Good morning, everyone. I want to begin by welcoming all of you and members of the media. I brought along good weather, of course, as your mayor, community partners, and the minister, and the wonderful Liberal member of Parliament from Toronto. And I just want to, before I start, say that we are on land, a traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat people. It is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. Toronto is covered by the Treaty 13 with the Mississauga of the Credit. And to start things off, let me ask the Honorable Gregor Robertson, Minister of Housing and Infrastructure and Minister responsible for Pacific Economic Development Canada. It's great to have you here leading this important national housing effort. And standing beside him is our old friend Anna Bailão, Chief Executive Officer for Building Canada Homes. And together we are unlocking the potential of this neighborhood, building homes, creating jobs, and delivering the infrastructure that support both. Minister, starting with you. I could. You want me to go ahead first? May I? Okay. I am starting first. I could introduce most of the members of Parliament here, but I'll leave that for you. Because, yeah. There is a family not far from here. Two parents working full-time and raising their little boy in a one-bedroom apartment. They would love to stay in Toronto because they love Toronto, but they don't want to leave. They just want a home they can afford and enough space to grow the family in a city where they work and where the son go to school. This is a story of so many families in our city. It is why we're here in Downsview, because what we do here matters. For generations, this land has been a place of hard work and innovation, from aircraft manufacturing to an airport to the next chapter of housing and community building. Over the next decades, this area will be home to 100,000 people, families, residents, with tens of thousands of new jobs. It will be a city within a city, new neighborhoods, retail and office space, local shops, parks, community centers, and more. Toronto's story has always been one of partnership and possibility. When governments, builders, and communities work together, we can build faster, innovate, and deliver housing that Toronto families need. That is exactly what we are doing here today. Today marks a generational investment in Toronto's housing and infrastructure. Through the Canada Housing Infrastructure Fund, the federal government is investing $283 million to expand the Black Creek sewage system, a project that will unlock up to 63,000 new homes right here in Downsview, protect water quality, and create thousands of good jobs. The City of Toronto is contributing $425 million towards this project, ensuring we have strong modern infrastructure we need to build the homes our residents deserve. For communities like York Southwestern, where the Member of Parliament, Judy Sgro, is here, this investment is about also protecting their homes. And she and I were reminiscing that we were talking about when she and I was in Metro Council together. That's a while ago. We were always talking about this Black Creek corridor having flooding every time there's a big storm. And then the sewage will overflow and pollute the Etobicoke waterfront, the Mimico beaches, and because that trunk line is 65 years old. So we've been talking about it for a long time. And finally, today, this project will finally expand the capacity, start the construction, protect homes, schools, and small businesses from the impact of extreme weather. It will also keep our western waterfront beaches clean after major storms. And with the launch of the Build Canada's Home First project, maybe I will leave it for Build Canada Homes to expand on it. It's exciting to see the new homes that are going to come right here. And you will hear about it shortly, because we need homes that people can afford. So all across our city, we're getting more homes built faster, homes people can actually afford. In the last couple of years, nearly 90% of the city has been rezoned to allow more housing types, from townhouses and the multiplexes to mid-rise and greater density near subway stations. Our approval process, once slowest in North America, is now 80% faster. We've cut red tape, eliminated things that are not necessary, streamlined the permits, reduced and here's the dollar, over $400 million of fees, development charges to help build thousands of purpose-built rental homes, one-fifth of them affordable. Through city programs and incentives, 25,000 new homes are being delivered this year and next, thanks to the partnership with the federal and provincial government. That's care in action, that's building, that's getting it done. Today show what's possible when all levels of government and community partners work together, when we care enough to act. And I want to thank everyone who made today possible for showing that when we build together, when we care, Toronto delivers. I want to sincerely thank Minister Robertson and Anna Bailão for their leadership and partnership in making this a reality. Your support is helping us unlock new homes and new neighborhoods for families and build a stronger, more affordable Toronto. Over to you, Minister Robertson, and then to Anna Bailão.
Thank you very much, Mayor Chow, and good morning, everyone. Bonjour à tout le monde. It's a great honor to be here in Toronto this morning in the GTA for this announcement, and really want to appreciate Mayor Chow for getting us started in a good way and recognizing the traditional territory that we stand on as well. I want to thank my fellow MPs here as well for attending from all across the GTA. We have Kareem Bardizi here, MP Selma Zaid, MP Maggie Chi, who we have on this, and CEO of Build Canada Homes, Anna Bailão, as well as MP Leslie Church, MP Judy Srow, and MP John Zericelli. So thanks to the team for being out here today. This is a very significant announcement for Toronto, a big step forward in terms of unlocking the housing that the GTA needs and that Canada needs right now. And it's big news to us. It may not be as big as the redemption tomorrow in Seattle for the Jays that we're all looking forward to. But this is a huge step forward on the housing front. Several things are clear in these last few years on the housing front. Home ownership has felt unattainable to way too many Canadians. The costs of land and construction are too high. And overall, there's not enough affordable housing across Canada. We need a major shift to bridge the divide and make the housing market work better for all Canadians. In just a few weeks, the Minister of Finance will table the federal budget so that we can meet this moment and set out just what we will build, not only what we will build, but how we will build it. Pendant des décennies, les experts ont fait sonner l'alarme en nous utilisant que le Canada n'avait pas assez de logements abordables et que quand nous en construisons, nous ne le faisons pas assez vite. Pour régler cela, les gouvernements précédents ont pris des mesures trop graduelles, réglementées ou en silo entre l'industrie, le gouvernement et le constructeur résidentiel. Last month, alongside Prime Minister Carney, we launched Build Canada Homes. And that we announced Toronto's very own Anna Bailão as the CEO, bringing her unique blend of private sector and government experience to make sure that things get moving. Build Canada Homes fights homelessness, expands deeply affordable and community housing for low-income households and partners with private sector developers to build affordable homes for Canada's middle class as well. Maison Canada va offrir des incitatifs financiers significatifs. L'organisme va approuver les grands projets et mettre rapidement à profit des terrains publics pour le logement, afin que le projet soit moins risqué et que les constructeurs puissent faire ce qu'ils font le mieux, bâtir. Bâtir is the active word there. We need to build. However, in far too many communities across Canada, the existing infrastructure simply does not have the capacity to service more homes, which is a major barrier to building. And that's why today I'm very pleased to announce $280 million investment to expand the capacity of Toronto's Black Creek sewer system. And absolutely. Once complete, this investment in partnership with the City of Toronto will catalyze the construction of up to 63,000 new homes on the Downsview site. And the Black Creek trunk sewer is 15 kilometers long. It serves more than 350,000 people. We have come to the point now where growth has outpaced capacity. And with the upgrade, without an upgrade, the city cannot approve new housing permits in this part. In the short term, our investment will ensure new housing developments can be approved with confidence and at speed. But in the years ahead, it will also help tens of thousands of families gain access to affordable homes closer to work and the communities that they love. Today, I'm very pleased to share that the first 6 development sites announced last month, the first development to be led by Build Canada Homes, is right here at Arbo Downsview in Toronto. And this project, Build Canada Homes, will deliver 540 homes that are factory built here on the site. And to accelerate this project, Build Canada Homes is launching its work this week to identify the companies that will lead the design and build. And I think Anna can give you a few more details on that. Builders will be asked to demonstrate their experience and innovation with factory-built housing and other methods of construction, including modular and mass timber. Companies will need to prioritize Canadian-sourced materials and ensuring that we have orders for the Canadian industries of those building products. L'annonce d'aujourd'hui est un exemple de notre détermination à réaliser des grandes choses et à bâtir un Canada fort. By building smart, by building Canadian, and by building now, we are building Canada strong. Thank you very much, and it's my honor now to introduce CEO of Build Canada Homes, Anna Bailão. Merci à tous.
Thank you, Minister. It's a real honor and a real pleasure to be stepping into this role and to be here joined with the Minister and with the Mayor and so many of the Toronto MPs that fight so hard to make sure that these kinds of announcements, these kinds of investments are done and coming to Toronto. And I'm sure I'll be hearing from them on a daily basis. So thank you in advance for all your calls, but hourly. But that's the way that we're gonna develop and we're gonna deliver across the country. It is an honor to be stepping into this role as the inaugural CEO for Build Canada Homes. I am new to the role. Actually, I'm just starting my third week as we speak, but not new to this mission. I am especially proud to be making this announcement here in Toronto, a city that has shaped so much of my personal and my professional journey. Toronto is where I began my career in housing and community development. It's where I learned firsthand the power of collaboration between governments, builders, and communities to create lasting change. And it's where I saw the urgency of the housing crisis up and close. And it's that urgency that drives me today. Build Canada Homes was created to do things differently. We're here to build faster, to build smarter, and build together. That means deploying modern methods of construction, supporting Canadian manufacturers, and unlocking new opportunities for home building across the country. Over the past few weeks, I've been meeting with stakeholders from across the country, and including many here, and actually Northcrest is here, which is part of the big development that is happening in here, and obviously those are some of the builders that we want to make sure have the opportunity to fast-track the many thousands of units that are in the pipeline. So I've been listening to their ideas, to their concerns, and their hopes. What's clear is that there's a shared commitment to solving Canada's housing crisis. And I can tell you that for many, many years that I've been dealing on this file, I've never felt the kind of commitment and roll up the sleeves and attitude that we can do that I see from everybody right now. And Build Canada Homes is ready to lead on that charge. Today's announcement is a powerful example of what's possible when we align infrastructure, innovation, and investment. It's about unlocking opportunity, not just for housing, but for careers, communities, and a more resilient future. We're proud to be launching one of our first housing developments right here in Downsview. It's a project that reflects our values: speed, affordability, quality, and inclusion. And that is just the beginning. I want to thank Minister Robertson for his leadership, Mayor Chow, all the MPs here. Together, we're building more homes. We're building a new era for housing in Canada. Thank you, and I'm looking forward to working with all of you as we build Canada strong. Thank you. And now we're going to move to questions.
Yeah. We will start with a question and answer period. Nous allons maintenant commencer avec la période des questions. One question, one follow-up. I'll turn it over to the first reporter.
Hey guys, Aidan Jamandi from Toronto today here. Minister Robertson, these ones are for you. So in July, you said that you and the City of Toronto had about 6 months to sort out the whole sixplexes issue. We're about 3 months from then, so I'm wondering if you could kind of give us a window into how that process has evolved and whether you are more or less likely now to give Toronto that $30 million that they're looking for.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for your question, and that's about the Housing Accelerator Fund. So Canada has a Housing Accelerator Fund in partnership with 241 cities and towns across Canada, Toronto being one of those. We're looking forward to seeing significant new housing opportunities across those hundreds of cities in Canada. And Toronto's leadership is very important in that. I've been working closely with Mayor Chow to track the progress on the Housing Accelerator Fund, the commitments that Toronto made for their funding. And there's certainly good progress, but we will be checking in January when the assessment comes back to look at what is next in terms of follow through on the commitments. And Sixplex is one of those that we have talked about. There are many other 35 commitments, and we're seeing good progress across the board. And certainly today is a great example of the scale of housing that Toronto can deliver for Canada. We're talking about over 60,000 homes here at Downsview, and adjacent another 30,000 that's being built by the private sector. So these are enormous commitments being made by Toronto. We want to see that follow through across the board, as we do with cities right across Canada.
And then a couple weeks ago out in BC, you said that you're looking to make some moves on development charge. I think you said you want to strike a balance so that municipalities still invest in infrastructure. But in the campaign, you said your platform said that you guys want to cut development charges in half. So I'm wondering if that campaign promise is the kind of level of ambition that you're looking to make come the fall.
Development charges are a significant challenge for the cost of building across Canada, and that's why we made a commitment to reduce those charges. We initially were looking at 50% reduction in partnership with provinces and territories. We're working through that process now across the country. Certainly, you'll see some forward movement here this fall. The budget's November the 4th, and I'm anticipating some next steps related to the budget. And we're really focused on bringing the cost of building down. That's the goal here. Infrastructure for cities is a huge part of that cost. And development charges, certainly here in Toronto and Vancouver, my hometown, are very closely connected to that infrastructure cost. That's part of why we're investing as Canada in Downsview and these major infrastructure opportunities that unlock tens of thousands of housing units. So we want to see that combination of infrastructure investment and reduced building costs with development charges, and stay tuned. We'll have more on that in the weeks ahead. Thank you.
Good morning, Minister. Momin Qureshi from 680 News. This is on a slightly adjacent subject. I know the mayor has talked pretty openly as a city council about the hole that's being left in the budget of about $100 million when it comes to funding for refugees and shelter spaces. I just wanted to know if there's been any movement from your government on filling that gap.
Well, certainly with Build Canada Homes, there's an enormous investment in homelessness. There's $1 billion that is dedicated to supportive transitional housing. That's ensuring people have housing that they can transition from the homelessness or shelters into permanent housing. I think that'll have a very beneficial effect across the board with housing challenges and homelessness. My colleague, Minister Metlej Diab, is focused on that issue, working with Mayor Chow. I know they've got an active dialogue on that, so I'll leave it to her to update on that front. I'm more focused on the bigger picture around housing and addressing homelessness with those investments, as mentioned.
I know there are members of the 416 caucus. I don't know if somebody can speak on their behalf, but that this is an issue that affects the ridings that they represent when it comes to shelters and homelessness. And I want to know if they have been advocating inside the government for that funding. If not, why not?
Well, I've got a whole lineup of folks here. I know all of us have been talking about the necessity of investing in tackling homelessness and making sure people have a safe place to live, especially as winter approaches. We have to make sure that the investments are comprehensive across the board and that we're partnering with the city and the province. And I think that's the critical piece here is those partnerships. The responsibilities obviously are spread between the levels of government. And when we tackle homelessness and supportive housing, we have to have the province showing up and funding the health and wraparound supports. I know the City of Toronto is very committed to this. Many of the mayors I've talked to across the country are following through. We will do our part on the federal side, and I'm sure we've got work to do in the months ahead before the winter hits. Anyone else want to speak to it, or are we good? Okay.
Hi, thank you. Alan Carter from City News. First to the Minister and then to the Mayor, a further question on sixplexes and what is the impact of the delay of actually deciding whether or not Toronto qualifies and has fulfilled what you say are, what the list of requirements are. Sixplexes seems politically untenable in Toronto. Should the government, or will your government make a decision prior to January on that?
No decisions prior to January. We're in an assessment process that culminates in January around the commitments with the Housing Accelerator Fund. And there are, as I said, 35 commitments, City of Toronto, and there's good progress along that journey. And we will review it when it comes back in January.
If I could then to the Mayor, what is the impact as you try and fashion a budget of not being able to know whether or not you qualify for the Housing Accelerator Fund?
At this point, there is no impact because the funding is not expected until next year. The key objectives for every elected representative, any levels of government, is to build more homes faster. We're on target to build 65,000 units of housing. This year and next, 25,000 shovel hitting the ground. We have we've changed the zoning to 90% of the city so that whether it's multiplexes, sixplexes, higher density, it's all happening. And that's a dramatic change. I note that two things. One, sixplexes is already permitted across Toronto in avenues and main streets. It's just in some areas, in smaller residential street, some of the councillors felt that it's too much. Okay, and I've also noted that in one area that are outside the downtown core, where sixplexes is allowed, Scarborough North, for example, there's been no application. So will we actually get a lot of building built if tomorrow is that sixplexes in residential street allowed it? I don't know, because certainly in terms of multiplexes, you can build 4 units of housing in 3-story. You can build it anywhere, and there hasn't been a big rush to do so. The key point right now, in order to build housing faster, housing that people can afford, is one thing. It's the financial problems. We have to unfreeze that pipeline. We have 300,000 units of housing ready to be constructed. All the zoning is done. Some even have site plan. They just need building permit. Why aren't they doing it? Because the finance doesn't work, which is why we're in active conversation on development charges.
Ben Spur from the Toronto Star. I think this is maybe best put to Anna. Just curious, Canada Lands was already very heavily involved here in the Downsview site. So can you just clarify what Build Canada Homes involvement means? What changes here? Is this just a change in the construction method of some of the homes? What's new today?
Well, so as the Prime Minister announced, Canada Lands is now under BCH, and the involvement would be two-folded. One and foremost is, yes, the construction method. So the RFQ will be put out for factory building, design build, operator, constructor to come on the site. So that will be a difference, and that will be led by BCH. And the other thing is BCH will be using more and more land, mostly from Canada Lands, but it could come from other parts of the government as well. So it's the use of public land, obviously, because we want to have shovels in the ground right away. We're going to be looking at what projects are in the pipeline that we can now transfer for a different level of construction, and the partnerships. The key is also the partnerships. We're going to be looking to bring everybody and their best skills to the table. The builders, the nonprofits, the government land, the other orders of government and financing. That's also the innovation of BCH, is how you create the partnerships, how you develop, bringing in the land and the new methods of construction, and being a catalyst for factory building homes.
And a follow-up to Minister Robertson. Similarly, last year, the federal government made a joint announcement with the city about flood protection funding in the Black Creek area. So can you clarify what is new here today? Is this additional funding to that announcement last year?
Yes, this is additional funding that is focused on the sewer main and on the wastewater systems here. Stormwater and wastewater. So there will be further improvements around flood protection with the heavy rains, with the storm sewer capacity. So less of that will end up in the waterways here, which is a big benefit. But overall, it's all about unlocking over 60,000 homes that can be built here at Downsview, making sure that capacity is there on the wastewater side.
One last call for questions. And this concludes today's press conference. Thank you, everyone.